This is a TNN special. The most consequential moment of this campaign. Bernie stands.
Our students need an educator who truly believes in democracy within the classroom.
Mike Pants.
I'm Mike Pants, and it's time we put a belt on this situation.
Face to face. Historic. Starting now. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jake Snapper, and welcome to Teachers News Network. Tonight, we have two teacher candidates here vying for your votes. With just 3 weeks left until Election Day, this is a crucial moment for students and parents in the district to hear the candidates' views on democracy in education. On the right side of the stage, please welcome Mr. Mike Pants, representing the Order and Structure Party. And on the left side, we have Mr. Bernie Stans from the Student Freedom Party. Each candidate will present an opening statement, respond to questions and rebuttals, and finish with closing remarks. Candidates, please remember to stick to the rules we have reviewed before the debate. Thank you. Mr. Stans, you may begin with your opening statement.
Thanks, Jake. Friends, we're at a truly pivotal moment for our grade 5 class at Pike Elementary. Our students need an educator who truly believes in democracy within the classroom and is committed to building a space where every student's voice is heard. My teaching philosophy is all about that. Students know what they need to thrive, and the teacher's role is to guide them, not impose outdated rules crafted by boomers like Mr. Pants. Our students don't need another educator who believes in outdated banking model of education. If I'm elected, I'll ensure students experience a genuine academic and social success, and I'm excited to share my vision here tonight.
Folks, don't be fooled by Mr. Stan's friendly approach. What he's suggesting is dangerous. It's a dangerous road. It's a short leap from student-led classrooms to absolute anarchy. Next thing you know, kids will be TikToking on their desks instead of learning essential concepts in math and language. Under my leadership, we will make education great again. Tonight, I'll show you what a classroom looks like with an experienced, rational leader at the helm.
Thank you both for your opening remarks. Now, our first question tonight is as follows. We know that students must have guidelines to follow in the classroom. How do each of you propose that classroom rules are created? Mr. Pants, you're up first.
Thank you for the question, Jake. Look, I have years and years of experience creating classroom guidelines. I've seen what works and what doesn't. It's clear that teachers are in the best position to create these guidelines, not students who don't even have an understanding of what democracy is yet. Students have set guidelines that hold them accountable for their behavior in the classroom. Once students get into the real world, it doesn't matter what they think the laws should be. What matters is that they abide by them or face the consequences. The same principles apply in the classroom. Otherwise, we are setting our students up for failure once they leave the education system.
That's ridiculous, Mike. In creating a classroom guidelines, we must take a student-led approach. What does this look like, you might ask? Well, it starts from day one. As a class, students will brainstorm a list of ideas and rules that a class will uphold. Once we have a thorough list, we will vote on each of them and pass them into the classroom law. Not only does this provide students an opportunity to have their voices heard, but they will learn about the principles of democracy that are at the heart of our society. Once they become adults, they'll have the experience of critically thinking and voting on issues that are important to them.
Think about this. Who would you rather want working for you at your business? Someone who thinks critically about how you do things, or someone that follows a strong leadership style? Bernie, you're sounding like a grade 6 who is experiencing free will for the first time and drank too much Kool-Aid at the class dance. The role of education is to instill skills that will translate directly into the workplace, starting with discipline, respect for authority, and responsibility. In a teacher-led classroom, students learn how to follow instructions, meet expectations, and work within a structured environment, skills that employers value highly. By reinforcing routines and accountability, we are teaching students how to handle real-world responsibilities.
Thank you both for your responses. Another critical piece in the classroom is ensuring that all students, regardless of the background, are included and supported in the classroom. Our next question is, how can you as educators ensure that all students, regardless of background, feel empowered to participate in the classroom?
From my experience in the classroom, the illusion of free will is superior to true free will of the students. Take, for example, classroom rules and norms. For cleaning the classroom, students will not inherently take the initiative to rotate their responsibilities. Rather than allowing students to vote, present choices for them. They still get the satisfaction of voicing their opinion, but their opinion is reflective of what you want as a teacher. It's a win-win situation.
Sorry, but what a ridiculous answer from Mike there. The illusion of free will? Under no circumstances should educators deceive their students. In fact, transparency is one of the fundamental principles of a classroom. But let's get back to the actual question at hand, which Mike avoided. But students must feel that they are safe and empowered to engage in the democratic process, both in the classroom and outside of it. We must allow students the opportunity to explore a wide range of ideas, especially those of minority groups and the indigenous perspectives. Students must feel like their voices are heard and respected. I know that as a classroom teacher, my role is to uplift students and build their confidence. This allows them to actively participate and become engaged members of the classroom community and society at large. One of the ways that I will ensure all my students are able to express themselves in the classroom is by implementing a variety of assessment opportunities. Assessments in my classroom will address diverse learning styles, encourage active participation, and purposely promote the development of student confidence.
Thank you for your animated discussion. Next question for both of you. In your view, what skills are most important for students to develop in order to be active democratic citizens? Mr. Stans, you have the floor.
That is an incredibly important question there. And while critically thinking and creativity are at the top of the list, if we want students to be active democratic citizens, we need to teach them how to question authority and think for themselves, not just follow rules blindly. They should be able to form their own opinions and make their own decisions. And I'm a strong believer in the critical thinking principles outlined by Greg Haskins in his Practical Guide to Critical Thinking. These are open-mindedness, healthy skepticism, intellectual humility, free thinking, and high motivation. As teachers, we must ensure that students are afforded the opportunity to develop these critical thinking characteristics. We also need to give students the tools to be active collaborators. Democracy is all about teamwork, right? So let's make sure they know how to work together, debate ideas, and even disagree respectively. If we don't, we're just creating little robots who nod along to whatever an authority figure says. So let's teach them to challenge the status quo.
Well, while I appreciate the enthusiasm for critical thinking, I can't help but wonder if we're preparing our students for democracy or for a future as rebellious teenagers. Let's not forget the importance of discipline and responsibility. You know, the stuff that society stops from spiraling into chaos. Being an active democratic citizen isn't just about questioning everything. It's about knowing when to question and when to follow. Respecting authority helps students learn the importance of structure and discipline, which are essential in any democracy. Take, for example, rules and regulations and laws. Personal responsibility teaches them how to own their actions and decisions. I just want to add that as teachers, we must be the decision makers. Students can learn about consensus decision making when they join the student council, not by voting on whether or not they want an extra recess. Also, I don't need 27 grade 5s critically questioning my teaching style. We get enough from principals.
Well, Mike, I'm sure the principals tuning in tonight love that response from you. But look, as teachers, we all have our own teaching philosophies. However, as a believer in lifelong learning, I think that I can learn as much from my students as they can learn from me. It's important for students to have the opportunity to practice exercising democratic principles, no matter what I may personally think.
Moving on. We have now talked about the skills we want students to build. How do we go about actually developing these skills? Mr. Stans, you're up.
Building these skills starts with giving students real opportunities to practice them. For example, we can create group projects where they have to collaborate, solve problems together, and even settle disagreements. I'll also set up class discussions where they can explore different perspectives and make decisions as a team, like choosing inquiry projects or deciding on class activities. I will also introduce and employ various systems of voting so that they can experience what it feels like to be an active participant in the decision-making process. By giving them choices and encouraging critical thinking, we're not just talking about democracy, we're doing it. In a student-led classroom, they're learning by experience, not just theory.
Yes. Democracy by group projects. Nothing says real-world prep like watching one kid do all the work while the others cheer from the sidelines. And as for those class decisions, let's be honest. We all know they're just going to vote for extra recess or more pizza parties. Sure, experience is great, but without structure, we're just risking a classroom democracy that is one step away from a reality TV show. I would like you to consider two students having an argument during a group project. What does that look like? What strategies do they use? Without an authoritative figure intervening, students do not have the skills required to solve certain problems. If I ask students to talk about their emotions and feelings, see what their reactions are.
Oh, come on. Group projects aren't just an excuse for pizza parties. When students are given the tools to work things out on their own, they're actually building real-life skills. Sure, two students might get into an argument during a project, but that's exactly the point. Conflict resolution is part of the learning process. And if you think kids can't talk about their emotions without an authoritative figure stepping in, you might be underestimating that.
Thank you both for your thoughtful insight today. As we come to the end of this engaging debate, I'd like to give each candidate the opportunity to share their final thoughts. In your closing statements, please summarize your key arguments and reflect upon what you believe is the most important takeaway from our discussion. Mr. Stans, the floor is yours.
Thank you all for tuning in tonight. And I want to leave you with this. A student-led classroom isn't just a place to memorize facts. It's a launch pad for future thinkers, creators, and maybe even the next generation of world leaders. By giving students a voice, we're not just prepping them for tests. We're preparing them to challenge the status quo. Real democracy means students feel valued And that's where true learning happens. So if we want our students to be ready for the real world, let's start by letting them practice those skills right here and right now. Because nobody wants a future filled with mindless yes people. Thank you.
Thank you to all who are at home listening. Look, a structured, teacher-led classroom is about providing the clear expectations and discipline that keep our future citizens from turning into chaotic rebels without a cause. Trust me, nobody wants to be in the same room as a classroom full of mini tyrants. By guiding students with responsibility, respect, and authority, we are equipping them with skills they'll need to navigate the real world. So let's ensure our students don't just survive, they thrive with a solid foundation. Thank you.
Thanks again to both candidates for engaging in a fruitful discussion tonight. And thank you to all who have tuned into TNN tonight. Don't forget to vote in 2 weeks' time at your local polling station.